Hey, it's Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Just got done watching President Trump's address to the nation, and then Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi had their say, their rebuttal to the president. The president talking to the American people for about 8 minutes or so about the need for border security and a border wall. The president laying out some different facts and figures that I'm sure all the fact checkers will be going through. I've already seen some on Twitter going, well, yeah, the numbers he's presenting are accurate, but we do need some more context on here. Okay, so you'll see a lot of debate over that the next few days. But what the president laid out is that there are drugs coming across the border illegally now. There are many who will say and who have reported that most of the illegal drugs that funnel into the United States come through the ports of entry. So how much would a wall actually stop illegal drugs? That's unknown. But what we do know is that people cross illegally into the United States of America. We've seen the caravans. The president talked about the caravans, talked about the amount of children that are brought to the United States illegally, talked about how dangerous of a trek it is for women and children to leave Central America and make their way to the United States. The president laid all of that out and then also said, you know what? It doesn't have to be a concrete wall. It can be a steel fence or a steel barrier, which is what some Democrats have asked for. Democrats in return said we don't want anything at all. So that's really the debate. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer came out afterwards and said that they didn't even offer anything to rebut the president as far as, okay, here's your offer of a steel wall. We don't want a steel wall. We want this. The Democrats came out and said, we don't want anything. We don't think it'll do any good. We want to use technology, and that's it. Which, okay, technology can work, but why not use a fence? The Democrats want to play on emotion, and that was really their argument. Chuck Schumer saying that that the overall picture to the United States should be the Statue of Liberty, that should be something that people see, not a 30-foot fence. It's emotion that Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi were trying to reach out to. Listen, I still think that the Democrats and the Republicans, the White House and the Democrats are very far apart on this issue. I think that the president, in my mind, was not forceful enough with the Democrats. I said it on the show earlier on Tuesday that if I were Trump, I would have come out and said, listen, Chuck, Nancy, Democrats, I give you 3 weeks. I've come to the table. I've told you instead of a concrete wall that stretched across the border, we'll reduce it to mainly an urban area steel fence. The president has compromised, but he didn't lay that out in strong enough terms, I think, this evening. And what he should have also done is challenge the Democrats and say, I speak to the United States again in 3 weeks. The State of the Union address is on January 29th. You have 3 weeks to meet us in the middle, and I'm prepared to leave the government shut down. Nowhere in President Trump's speech did he talk about using emergency powers to build the wall. He did say that we have a humanitarian crisis on the border. I've heard other lawmakers now using that exact same language, that we have a humanitarian crisis on the border. You did not hear from the president today that he was ready to use emergency powers in order to build a wall. I would have liked to have seen from the president that threat that, hey, you've got 3 weeks. We've got 3 weeks to the State of the Union address. Come to the table with something. Let's negotiate and let's get something done. The Democrats came out after President Trump spoke and said that, this is not how presidents should act. The president should not throw a temper tantrum and shut down the government over border wall funding. Listen, folks, here's the truth of the matter. President Trump ran on a border wall. Millions and millions of people elected this guy president of the United States. Whether you like him or not, he won the presidency. He won the White House. And one of the main factors that he ran on was illegal immigration and building a wall. Chuck and Nancy like to talk about how, well, the president's not getting Mexico to pay for it. I don't know of anyone who really took that seriously, that Mexico was going to pay for it. But in my opinion, the Democrats did not show any conciliatory tone at all. They did not show that they were willing to go to the table. The Democrats basically gave the middle finger to Trump and said, no, Mr. President, you need to reopen the government, and then we'll talk about securing the border later on, which we all know will never happen. I think just from viewing tonight's speeches, the president needs to stick to his guns on this one. I don't know if public opinion was swayed one way or the other tonight. What I expect to happen is that the government will remain shut down. If the two sides can't get together on anything, expect for the president of the United States to leave the government shut down for 3 weeks to the State of the Union address and blast Democrats in the State of the Union address, because the argument that Republicans and the president can make is that Democrats are soft on border security, that Democrats are soft on securing the border of the United States, and that makes us all less safe. I thought it was a brilliant point that the president made at the very end of his speech, where he said that when he took the oath of office that he took was to protect the United States of America, and that he would do that each and every single day. And you can make the argument that securing the southern border is in defense of the United States of America and the citizens here in this country. Again, I don't know if anyone was moved by this speech. I think the president did a fine enough job. I think Chuck and Nancy did what they needed to do. I don't know if they persuaded anybody. It's kind of everyone to their corners on this one right now. I wish the president would have been a little more forceful in his comments this evening from the Oval Office. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And of course, we'll talk about it on the Chad Hasty Show on Wednesday from 8:30 to 11. Mark Lauder, who was a special assistant to the president and also a former press secretary for the vice president, will join me at 10:35 Central Time to give his thoughts on the president's speech. Tune in then.